What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Feelin Fine. I'm your host, Corey, and thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. It really does. Sorry it's been a couple weeks. That's on me. Kind of had, we had the 4th of July weekend, so that was spent family celebrating. Then we had last week, and that was just kind of a personal day on my end. And I'm sorry, and I don't want to miss any weeks or any conversations. That being said, this week the episode is dealing with anxiety, and it's something that so many people face. I mean, I think just about everyone has it at some point or another. The true definition of anxiety is feeling of unease, worry, or fear, often characterized by physical symptoms like rapid heartbeat, sweating, restlessness, lack of sleep is a big one. And there's so many factors that go into what can cause it. I mean, just the stress in your environment, the people who you surround yourself with, the activities you like to do, can cause a big piece of it. If you put things off and wait till the last second, that can really cause a nervousness of overwhelming, just to wash over you and be completely get you just very anxious of, I need to get this done and I don't have the time, and it's very nerve wracking. Another one will be like financial worries or burdens, or just the stress of finances in general. We've all been there. We've all been struggling, and it's okay because you're not on your own. I know that can be a big one for me. Like that's been most of mine in my adult life, is dealing with just financial situations, and it just gets, that gets my anxiety just rolling, because it's just like, what's going to come of this? Like, how am I going to afford this? And it's just, it's so many things that play into it. And really, I guess the last one that can cause anxiety is any type of past trauma, whether it's physical or emotional. Those play a big piece, and they go hand in hand with one another. And also, if you deal with a loss in your life, that can cause to have anxiety, and it's just not a good feeling. I know a lot of us feel it from time to time, and I'm just here to tell you that you're not alone in it at all. So many people deal with it, and I reached out to a lot of people trying to come up with certain things on this episode of just like, what do you go through? How do you deal with it? And we're going to get into some of that, and I'm excited. If you go online and you just type in anxiety and how to cope with it, it's just going to tell you to get up and do some sort of physical activity, which is great. You can try deep breathing exercises and or meditate or yoga. That's great if you want to do that. The people I reached out to gave me some great insight, and the people I reach out to are people that I have surrounded myself with, and that's a big piece of anxiety. I feel like if you surround yourself with the right people, that can change so much of your life. I love the people I have in my life and who they are to me. And I say a lot of times I don't have friends. I have a lot of family, and it just extends. And if I'm lucky enough to get close with you on that aspect, I appreciate it. And I'm just so thankful for the people I have, because they help me so much, not only with this episode, but just so much going on in life right now. So surrounding yourself with great people is a big piece of that. Another big one is you can find like an outlet, something that you can do to take your mind off of whatever it is that's causing it. Whether that's, whether you like to work on cars or go hunting or go fishing, or especially the men in the group, the men that are listening, especially the fathers. Like it can take a toll trying to deal with everything of how to provide and how to deal with your day-to-day life, but also worry about your family. And it's important to take that time for yourself and completely separate, just kind of disappear in a sense from life. I think that's very important to a man's mental health, really to anyone's mental health. I mean, it's so important to find outlets that you enjoy doing. I've been a gamer since I can remember. I love just getting on the game and, doing whatever and knowing that I'm good at that game, and that makes me feel good, and that's my outlet. Another outlet I enjoy, I drum for my church, and, it's only been about a month and a half now, but it's something I really enjoy because I'm able just to lock in on that subject or that song or whatever we're working on for whatever event, and I can just put on the music and learn it and just get lost in it. And that's something that I'm still learning to do as well, but that's an outlet for me. I love doing that. I like to read, when I can, especially like real books. What is that, non-fiction, I guess. It's something that I do enjoy doing if I just find the time. A lot of the time is just sit still and sit down with a book. That can be sometimes crazy with, a life that you live, and it can be it can be hard to find time, but you have to find time for yourself. I know people that like to draw and paint. I know people that like to build things with their hands, and it's just something that you enjoy doing, that you can put a lot of effort and your mind into as well. And it's just something, it's your outlet. It's how you escape. It's how you deal with the rush of life, the anxiety feeling, the overwhelm and the stress. Because it could ultimately really hurt you in the long run if you let it control your life. And that's not something that you want to do. And I try my best to do everything that I can so it doesn't. And I hope that you all do the same as well. Last, as far as my opinion, last but not least, in my household, we believe in God, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I know who my Savior is. And so getting into your Bible is very important. And I have a couple scriptures that I've pulled that just really spoke to me in, more ways than one. And one of them is Peter 5:7. It's literally says this word for word: cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. That's basically saying, hey, give whatever problem you're going through, just give it to God and let him handle it, because he cares for you. He knows the path that you're going to go down before you even know it. And he's going to watch out for you. He's going to protect you. And it's something that really spoke to me this week. And I hope, you hear it, and maybe you want to get into your word. And if you don't, that's perfectly okay. I'm not going to judge you for necessarily not believing what I believe, and that's perfectly okay. That's not my job as a person to judge you. I do have a story about the first time I really dealt with anxiety and what it did to me as a young man, and what it made me go through. And it was something I never really experienced before, and I was very young. I was maybe 8, 9, somewhere in there. But at the time, I was living in Texas, and I grew up trying out different sports, but the number one thing I did when I lived there was I did martial arts, and it's something I enjoyed doing. I did it for, almost 8 years of my life was spent in classes or at tournaments, and especially in Texas, it's a big state. It's very competitive, and around that time, I just remember the previous year, I went to this same giant state tournament, and I was nervous and I didn't do well. And so the next year, I just wanted to really push myself and just try to be the best that I could at whatever the tournament would call for, whoever I had to go against, whoever was in my way of finally getting a first place at state was something that I put pressure on myself for, and I needed it. I needed that extra push, in my opinion. So the day of the state tournament comes, and it's in this giant gymnasium. I can picture it. It's so big, and you're thinking to yourself at first, you're like, this is a high school, and then later you find out it's like some small college or something. So of course the gym is going to be massive, and then there's just mats everywhere, and you go and you find out who's in your bracket, and it's people you might have faced before, or it's someone that could be brand new to the game. It's someone that you may have seen at other places, but you necessarily didn't have to fight them or anything. My bracket was filled with people who I'd seen, who I'd faced before, and also other kids that were in my class with me. And so it was like, to win this year, I'm going to have to beat some of my own people. And it was inevitable. We knew that we were some of the best there, at least in that bracket. And so we knew that it was going to be tough no matter what. And I just remember I carried a lot of pressure with me that day. I carried a lot of it. Not only was I wanting to be a leader for that, martial arts school, my stepdad at the time was also my teacher and instructor. And so it was, you feel pressure, especially like your dad's a coach. You're going to feel pressure no matter what. And I just remember getting this feeling of like this giant room just shrunk down to the size of the mat, and I started looking around, and I was freaking out, and I was just nervous. I was so nervous, and it was like, you've seen all these people, you know who they are. Like, why are you freaking out? But I could not shut off my brain to save my life. It was just so and my heart was just beating out of my chest. And it was the first time that I ever got sick from just being in my own head and being, nervous and having anxiety really roll over to where you feel like the whole room is crowded in and everyone's staring at you, and it's scary. And that feeling has come in more ways than one. And anxiety attacks everyone. It doesn't care who you are, how old you are, what you're really going through. It just kind of drops on you, and you have to figure out how to get through it and how to deal with it. And it's totally, I wouldn't say normal, because I don't want people just to be like, oh, I have this feeling and it's cool. Like, no, like, it's good to have people who you can talk to, and it's good to have people that understand you and who you are. And it can help so much if you're ever a very anxious person. Having people in your corner is something that's so crucial and so needed in today's world, when it feels like the environment that surrounds people can try to pin people up against one another, when that's not what we need at all. I'm very blessed to have a support system around me, and it starts with my wife, who I love dearly, and she's my rock. And whenever I'm going through something, I know I can just go to her and be like, hey, this can't be a really 50-50 day for us. I need to take 20 and you need to take the 80, and she takes it without question. And I do the same for her. And I just want people to know out there that if you ever feel anxious, if you ever feel nervous, you ever feel overwhelmed, you're not on your own, and you're not dealing with the weight of the world on your shoulders by yourself. You're not going through any battle alone, whether you tell people or you don't. That's, your business, but you're not on your own through this life. You shouldn't have to feel that way. And if you ever are really feeling anxious about something, reach out to someone. Let them know, reach out to people who you trust and love and be like, hey, I'm kind of freaking out right now. I need some support. And that's all you can do. And it's so important, because, they say like stress is like a silent killer. And stress comes from the feeling of anxiety and I need to do this or this will happen, or I'm so behind on this that this will happen. And it's just like, hey, take a step back, do what the internet says, take a couple deep breaths and just work your way through it any way that you see fit. I've felt anxiety about doing this show. I wonder each week of what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to talk about it, what experience can I bring. And that's part of the reason why I didn't post last week, was because I was just so lost and just wondering, of what can I talk about. And then it just gave me the anxious feeling of like, I need to get up there and record something, and I didn't know what to say, and I didn't know how to say it. And so I got very, anxious, of just worried, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going about this the right way? Are people even going to listen? What's the point? And it was just all attacks from within my own head. And that's, I had to talk about that, and we got through it though. And that's what having a good support system does, and it can help you so much. And to tell you the truth, I did record something last week, kind of I was going to do an episode on basically like my life, from what I remember to where I'm at now. And I remember just being halfway through it and I was just kind of stuttering and blubbering, whatever. And I looked up and I never even hit record on my, screen. So I was like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be, through this process. Y'all are going to get to know me. You're going to get to know my friends. You're going to get to know my wife. You're going to get to know my whole life, what I've gone through, what people around me have gone through. And, no matter what, you're not alone. And it's going to be okay. I hope this helps. It's helping me. It's helping, the emails I've received are very nice. They're very touching. The people reaching out after the first episode, just the kind words, were absolutely incredible for me. I appreciate it. And we're going to keep it going, no matter what. Weekly, as long as I can. As long as time permits, which I will always do my very best to make time. That's this week is anxiety. And so this week, just try to, I'm not giving you homework, I'm not the teacher, but hey, if you feel a little overwhelmed, try to take a step back and think and, think about what you can do to maybe not be in that situation and not to maybe feel so overwhelmed. I will see you all next week. Next week's going to be another touchy subject. I'm still working on it. And it's going to be a great episode. I hope all of you have great weeks. I can't wait to see you next week. The email link will be in the description, so that way there's no issues. A couple people had issues with it. I'll make sure I put it in the description of the episode. That being said, I love you. God bless, and thanks for feeling fine. We'll see you next week.